microphone. And she's ready.
We're ready to go whenever you are.
Okay. All right, this is Chairman Beatty. We're going to call the county facilities meeting to order. Today's the 19th. It's 9:15. Everyone is present, correct? Is that correct, Amanda, in the boardroom?
Yes, you have Mr. Diamond here in the boardroom. Everyone else is on Zoom.
Okay, so we have a full committee attendance. Thank you. Okay, let's approve the minutes of the prior committee meeting. Do I have a motion to do that? Motion by Mr. McGowan, second by Ms. Sieber. Oh, she's not, all in favor of approving the minutes of the prior meeting?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Mr. Diamond?
I'm on board.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's go right into the agenda. It's an airport agenda. It's fairly self-explanatory. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. DeGraw. Don, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, very good. Thank you. I will let you take it away.
All right. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Page number 2, we have a request to authorize application number 2 for New York State Airport grant. We have put in an application number 1, which is for the T-hangers, phase 2. And just in case we don't get that, this is our backup grant for painting in the future. So it's to fund airfield painting project.
Okay, do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. McGowan to move that forward. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Conover. Mr. Conover, thank you. Discussion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next item, Mr. DeGraw.
So I'm going to group 3 together, page 4, 6, and 8. We had a bid opening for the snow removal equipment building, which is an FAA grant, which hopefully will be forthcoming. The low bidders for general contractor, electrical contractor, and mechanical contractor are before you today. We did not get any plumbing bids, so we put the bid back out, and we're hoping to get a plumbing contractor bid open in the beginning of June. Once we have the total number for the project, we'll put that into a grant application and submit it to the FAA. This will be 100% FAA funded, no local match, except for non-eligible item. The only non-eligible item for this building is the bathroom. The FAA will not pay for the bathroom, and we're expecting about a $25,000 cost for the bathroom. And that's all I have for those 3.
So are you grouping these 3 together? Because my agenda, I think, is for some reason is not quite accurate. So what are you grouping together, Mr. DeGraw?
I'm grouping together authorized new contract SRE building for the general contractor, authorized new contract SRE building for the electrical contractor, and authorized new contract for SRE building for the mechanical contractor. Those 3 low bidders for the bid.
Okay, do I have someone who want to make a motion to bring that to the floor? Ms. Hogan, thank you very much. Do I have a second? Mr. McGowan, discussion. Ms. Hogan, you got to unmute yourself.
Hi, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Quick question for Don. When you say 25,000 for the bathroom, that's includes up the 15,000 max here that I'm seeing for the construction. So it would be another 10 for the plumbing, you're saying?
I'm not sure where you're seeing 15,000. So
Well, the highest bid there was 15, so I was kind of going to that.
Well, we had 3 different bids for the bathroom. The general contractor came in at $12,300 for his portion of it. The electrical contractor came in at $2,200 for the electrical, and the mechanical came in at $6,800. So to date, we have $21,300 that's not eligible for FAA funding for the bathroom because we did that as a bid alternate. And when the plumbing bid comes in, there'll be one more piece to that. So I'm anticipating another 5 maybe for the plumbing.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrea. Very good question. Other questions? Mr. McGowan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Don, is this a Taj Mahal bathroom? What,
No,
we have
no, it's
showers
not.
and a sauna and a steam room in there, or what?
You need
No,
one?
it's a very basic bathroom. It just has a toilet, 3 walls because we actually based it off an existing wall, a sink, and a light and a fan. That's it. So I think when we actually get into construction, the actual numbers might be lower a little bit, but these are the numbers that we have to go off of from the bid. So.
Now, we have floor drains in there anyways, don't we?
Miss tied at 7. We're at the top of the second quarter.
I don't know if they have a separator or not.
I mean, that just seems a lot for, you know, a toilet, a sink, and a fan and some walls and, you know, a little bit electrical, but I understand it. Just, you know, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't, I'm sure we have a baby changing station and a few other things that have to be, and I know how to be handicapped, but 25 grand's a lot of money, but no, carry on. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, we don't. It's not a public bathroom. It's a very, very basic bathroom. So we didn't splurge at all on it. And I am hoping that the actual cost will be lower.
Let's hope so. And thanks, Don.
Thank you, Mr. McGowan. Thank you, Mr. DeGraw. Let's see here. We called the question, correct, Amanda?
You have a motion in a second, you need to call.
Okay, so we'll call the question now. All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Beatty, Mr. Diamond has a question before you vote.
Pardon me?
Mr. Diamond has a question before you vote.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Diamond, thank you. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On page 7, Don, I have a question here. You're listing the electrical contractors.
Mr. Diamond.
He's got to speak up.
Sorry. Don, on page 7 of your bid tabulation sheets, I'm looking at your list of people that, electrical contractors that responded to the bids. I guess my question is, weren't there anybody in Warren County that was a recipient of the application to bid on this project?
I don't have a plan holders list in front of me. There were a number of companies that this went out to, but I don't know how to answer that.
I believe he's asking about page 7, which has a bid from a company in Fort Edward, 2 from Troy, and 1 from Boston Spa. I believe Mr. Diamond was asking, were there any bids from any Warren County companies? And I guess the short answer would be no.
Kevin wants to say something.
Pardon me?
Kevin Hadrios wants to
Okay.
say something.
Thank you. Mr. Hayjos, you want to add something?
Yeah, typically when we put out these bids, we put them out to businesses in Warren County. Julie typically has a bid holders list. We can get a hold of that bid holders list. We offer it up to businesses around here all the time. If they bid on it, they bid on it. If they don't, they don't. We're not gonna hold their hand. Bottom line, if we don't receive bids from those companies, then they're not part of this bid package. And for this one, I think the closest one was Fort Edward.
So if I want to get a copy of the bid list on who we're sending them out to, I could ask Julie for that.
You could ask Julie Butler. Yep, that's correct. And I can get you one, Supervisor Diamond. I can ask Julie to send it over to you.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next item, Mr. DeGraw, we called the question, correct?
You need to
Amanda?
vote. Nope, you need to vote on that, the last motion.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Mr. Diamond, how'd you vote?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's carried. Mr. DeGraw, next item.
So we have a grant offer in place from the FAA, 100% funded for $49,000 for an airport pavement management plan, which is a requirement the FAA has in place for us to move forward with paving projects on the airport, so on and so forth. On number 10, this is to establish a capital project for that grant.
I'll
Okay,
make
do
a
I have a
motion.
motion by Mr. McGowan to bring it to the floor? Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Mr. Conover, thank you. Okay, discussion. Seeing none, Mr. Diamond have a question?
He does not.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Number 12 is the contract to administer this plan with Jacobs Engineering.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to bring it to the floor. Mr. McGowan? Do I have a second? Mr. Conover? Okay, discussion. Mr. McGowan?
What does this entail? A consultant agreement? I mean, we need someone to tell us where we need it, or?
Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll do a survey of our pavement. They'll establish numbers that the pilots will use to correlate to the numbers that they correlate with their aircraft to ensure that they're not overstressing our pavement. And then we'll actually put a plan together to move forward for pavement rehabilitation, mill and pave, crack sealing, that type of thing. So Jacobs Engineering will perform that work, put the plan together, and then we'll use that plan as a guideline forward for our pavement.
And Don, do we have a price on that?
Yeah, it's $49,000, and that's what the grant is for, 100% FAA funded. So nothing, no county dollars here.
I think we talked about this before, didn't we?
You did.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, anything else, Mr. DeGraw?
Not from that section. For referrals, I've continued to interact with the FAA on getting their approval for non-aeronautical land use for the solar. Washington had some questions last week that they forwarded to the regional FAA, who then forwarded to us. I work with Lexi quite a bit, and we answered those questions, and now we're back in a holding pattern.
Okay, so holding pattern meeting, we're waiting still the official approval from Washington?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Any questions for Mr. DeGraw?
Mr. Diamond has a question?
Pardon me, Mr. Diamond has a question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Diamond?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don, is the RFP available for us as members of the committee to review?
We haven't put together the RFP yet, but you will review it prior to it going out. We will vet it totally, ensure we're all on the same page. Right now, I'm just waiting to get approval for what land we're going to put in the RFP, and then we'll move forward.
What do you estimate the timeline is to having the RFP available?
Well, once I know what land is going to be available, it'll be a quick turnaround time. I'll work with purchasing. We'll get a draft together, and we'll get it to you guys quickly, very quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Conover, do you have a question?
Yeah, just a comment for Don. Don, I'm specifically concerned about the residual position on those solar panels. I would hope that at the end of whatever term is involved, that we have the election of either having them removed by whoever we're doing business with, if we are doing business with someone, and or the residual ownership becomes ours. You know, kind of an either or kind of situation, if you see what I'm saying.
I do. I think there's two parts of this puzzle. The first part is putting out the RFP and getting the numbers back. We may have some contract stipulations in there, so the people who are bidding on it know exactly what they're bidding on. But what you're really talking about is the actual contract we will have with them for the lease. We will, like I said, we'll definitely vet the RFP through you, and we'll make sure that those key items are in there ahead of time. And then once we get to the point where we've awarded this or getting ready to award it, we will have a contract in place that will also be vetted by the committee and the board.
Just,
Go ahead, follow up, Mr. Conover, sure.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I mean, that goes to the actual bidders and what they're bidding on. So I think that, you know, some thought should be given to what we want at the end of whatever term is involved, if you see what I'm saying. I don't want to be in a position where we're required to remove anything and/or we're required to purchase anything. It would seem to me that at the end of whatever term is involved here, whatever it is that we want should be specified up front. That way the bidders know what they're bidding on. I mean, that would be my suggestion anyway. It's not something I think that we want to be negotiating on later on, if you see what I'm saying.
Absolutely, I do.
Mr. Bruno.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Conover. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Mr. Conover that any conditions like that need to be stipulated in the RFP so the prospective bidders know exactly what they're bidding on, what the requirements are. So if
I agree, and I think that will be clearly, as Mr. Graw said, the RFP will be clearly vetted by this full committee and any other board members who'd like to see it. And we'll make sure that we got a lot of watchdogs on this committee, and I appreciate that. And we'll make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed so that each potential bidder will have full knowledge of what they are actually bidding on and what their responsibilities and accountabilities will be per the contract. So thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much for that update, Mr. DeGraw. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hajos. Do you want to give us an update on the OES garage update, staffing update?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Real quick, most of you have driven by the county center. You will see that the OS building has started. As of last week, they poured footings. As of this week, they will, I think Wednesday afternoon at noon, they'll be pouring the walls. We're expect probably about a month and a half more of work, and they will have the building complete. So if you get a chance, drive by, take a look, but they've got it all fenced off and they're moving ahead with it. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is the kind of a staffing update for DPW, mainly on this one, buildings and grounds and airport. All staff for buildings and grounds and airport is back up to 100%. We have put precautions in place. I came up with a protocol for my staff to follow. We handed out 2 cloth masks to each one of my staff. They all have been given kind of a protocol on how to follow cleaning things. I see that Supervisor Sieber had sent an email regarding hand sanitizing stations. We have them throughout the county. We are ordering more. We also have the gallons of hand sanitizer from the state that most of my staff have bottles with them in their trucks, in their vehicles, around their garages. So if they can't get to a sink to wash with soap and water, they can use the hand sanitizer. So with that said, buildings and grounds is up to 100%. And so is the airport. And Don, correct me if I'm wrong, but as of yesterday, Rich Air has also opened up their operations again as well.
That's correct.
Thank you. I concur with, thank you very much, Kevin and Don. I concur with Supervisor Sieber about hand sanitizers and county facilities. And I think, Kevin, we've had that discussion too. I think that sends a real positive message to everyone that we are 100% behind looking out for the safety of not only our county residents, but anybody else who may use our facilities. So I'm going to let you, Kevin, follow up on that if you would, please.
Yeah, so as again, all my employees were giving 2 cloth masks apiece. Each of my employees, we had a meeting with all of them on Friday kind of to discuss kind of the mask protocol. But we also asked Brian LaFleur, which he has given me some, and I believe Don has brought him over to the airport already. So we have signs around the airport basically asking anybody who comes in to please wear a mask. If they do not have a mask, we have some there that we will supply to them while they come in. Most of the time, it'll probably be people coming in on planes where maybe they don't know and they have to come through the terminal building. So we will have masks available for them there. As far as the county center right now, until we truly open up, and I really haven't talked to Brian about it, but I believe we can probably have masks available, say at the security desk or something, so that when people come in there, they can grab a mask too, because we want everybody coming in with masks on.
Thank you. I think Ms. Seaver is referring also though to the hand sanitizer availability for the county properties. Is that correct, Ms. Seaver?
Yeah, if I could just ask a quick question. I know Supervisor Dickinson and I spoke, I think it was last week or the week before, and I wanted to reach out to Supervisor Merlino about it as well. And I know he's at the county boardroom. Maybe he could weigh in. But as we start to talk about tourism and, reopening different areas, the number one item on that tourism survey was that people coming into our community or even people here in our community are concerned about hand washing stations or hand sanitizer. And I think there's been a collective agreement among many of the supervisors that we need to be aware that if it's a county owned property and public is invited and at events, whether it be through tourism, OCTAX, at the airport, the county building, that maybe we look at some funds. I know I heard through OES that there may be some funds left in that COVID emergency fund to purchase hand sanitizer touchless dispensers. And I know Supervisor Garrity was looking at that as well, had some good success up in Warrensburg. But we certainly have the hand sanitizer. Brian was great at explaining to me, how that's working. But I think it is something that we need to be aware of. Dennis suggested that Lexi put together a list of all our county-owned properties, which was very exhaustive and very informative. And I'm hopeful that working group this afternoon, when we talk about bringing employees back, I guess we're a little bit behind, Kevin. I didn't realize you had almost all your staff back as we start to talk about what concerns they have. And what we can address and how to do it safely. So I know this is continuing to be one of those topics, but also just making sure they stay filled, those hand sanitizer stations. They're going to go so quickly.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you. Mr. Hajos?
Yeah, just to touch on that a little bit, Supervisor Seaver, I put a protocol together. I think I sent it to Tammy, I sent it to Ryan, kind of for what my staff should follow. I provided them everything I possibly could to make sure that they do stay safe. Mask, hand sanitizer, disinfectant cleaners, disposable rags so they can do contact wiping of surfaces around their areas. I've limited them to being in break rooms. So I mean, I think Tammy has that, and maybe if Tammy can hear me, we can kind of bring that up in that meeting this afternoon as far as opening up the rest of the facilities. I've reached out to Frank Morehouse. He has a significant number of hand sanitizers around the county center now. If Lexi wants to give me a list of other facilities she thinks we may need it, Frank is ordering more. They're very difficult to come by right now. And we were going to talk about this in Park O&M. I have reached out to a couple of the local suppliers around here about hand washing stations that we can put, say, at the Charles R. Wood Park or other facilities. They're very difficult to come by right now. I did pricing from 3 different areas or 3 different companies around here, and they run anywhere from $98 a month to $200 a month, and then there's a service fee for them to come and restock them and so on. Typically, they're only about 35-gallon total wash stations, so they have to come back and fill them up. It may be on normally it would be a month or something like that fill up. They might have to come, every couple of days or something, depending on how many people we have out. So I have looked into those hand washing stations, but the ones that we put on the walls, Frank has got, I think, some on order, but a couple of them I think are back ordered. We do have some still around the county center, so if we need them in other places, we can definitely put them up.
I agree with all the discussion here about a key factor in safety and the mental comfort level of people is hand sanitizing stations or the ability to sanitize their hands. And I know there's going to be a cost involved, but I think it's a cost that is more than justified, addressing the number one concern of anyone coming into the county and even county residents themselves. So, Kevin, if this committee is fine with it, I'd like to have you put together, a cost estimate on how many stations we need, hand sanitizing stations. Obviously, Mr. Dickinson has asked for a county, facilities list. You probably have that already, what we own. And what would be the most economical way of satisfying that need from a financial standpoint? Could maybe even, and I'm just thinking
That's
this.
to the point. Let's go. Come on. Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Mr. Wild. As usual, your input is duly noted.
I do apologize.
That's all right, Mike. It was par for the course from you. So, could you put together a financial breakdown also, whether maybe a county employee could actually refill and so forth, instead of having someone else do the refilling? That could be less expensive for us. So would you put together some of that stuff for us and have it, and as soon as you have it ready, send it out to the committee so we can at least look at it before the next meeting, if you can do that?
I can do that. And furthermore, as far as an expense, I have a discussion with FEMA this afternoon. Since we're going to take on some of the FEMA reimbursements for this COVID. So it may be that this may be a reimbursable item, but I have to run it by them first to see. But I will definitely talk to them this afternoon and see if this is one of those items that can be reimbursed. But I will put that list together.
Thank you. Mr. Dickinson? Dennis, you got to unmute yourself. Dennis?
Got you. I'm not used to being muted. Kevin, I had some conversation with John Carr in Lake George the other day, and as you probably know, he's making, through his brewery, he's making sterilizers, and he actually has set up a program to put in and maintain hand cleaning stations. So you may want to contact him and get some numbers from him.
Okay, good, I will.
He's trying to keep his employees busy, so it'd be a twofold blessing.
I'll reach out to him.
Okay.
Thanks, Dennis. Any other, I'm going to open this up now, the floor to anybody else who might have a question. Don, do you have any questions on YouTube or anything? Mr. Lehman?
Yeah, I'm looking right now. No, there's nothing posted there right now, Supervisor Beatty. No inquiries at this point.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to conclude this meeting. Maybe Mr. Wild would like to entertain that motion. Just have a little fun. Mike wants to move this along. So motion to conclude this meeting. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Bruno, second.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I do have some comment to make, if you don't mind.
Well, we're now in the stage of closing, but go ahead, Mr. Wild, if you have a comment, please.
Firstly, it's important for me to apologize. I didn't realize I was on mute. That was very disrespectful, and
Apology accepted.
Yep. And it's just to the public also, and to the other supervisors. But I did want to make a comment about the solar contract. And as you guys know, may have heard, I did work at GE. I did manage energy contracts. We need to be careful. We need to get some consultants to help us write the right terms of that contract because it's complicated. That's the only comment. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, do I have a second to adjourn the meeting? Second by Mr. Kondo. All in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Let's keep that ball